We'll go and bring someone in, and that'll keep everybody quiet for a bit. The fans have had enough. Rangers need to start winning games of football. It's not been good enough, and they're going to have to improve.
Yeah, it seems like there is a lack of resilience on the field as well. I have to say, Kris, I know you were so furious on Sunday, but your clip of your summary of the game did great numbers for us online. So thanks for that. And the social team, digital team, really happy with it. You said on Sunday that no Rangers player would get into that Celtic team. Do you stand by that too?
At this moment in time, yes. I mean, I think Joe Hart is obviously... Butland's obviously been an England internationalist. And last season, you would have had him ahead of Joe Hart because he was coming to the end. But I think Schmeichel has came in and, he's been... he's not conceded a goal yet, has he? So I think that in current form, you've got to say that the Celtic starting 11 from the weekend, there's not one Rangers player would get in that. And I would argue anybody that can put forward a case. I think that, you look at Celtic right now and they look far superior all over the pitch. And, if you want to rub salt in the wind as well, you could easily look and say that there's probably about 4 or 5 of the Celtic bench that would walk straight into the Rangers starting team.
Yes, if the players aren't good enough, how does the manager compare to his opposite number in the other dugout? Philippe Clement has never beaten Celtic. Psychologically, how big an issue is that?
Big. I think when you go back over a period of time that Michael Beale came under pressure when he didn't beat Celtic, and every manager does. That's just part of the course. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst had a couple of bad results against Celtic, and he came under pressure. Sorry. I think that when you're the manager of a massive football club, you're always going to come under pressure. That's just the nature of the beast. That's what happens. I get the fact that you've got to give Philippe Clement a lot of credit as well in terms of there's been a lot of managers in the past that probably, I wouldn't say they've been afraid, but they've maybe been reluctant to get rid of the old guard, shall we say. Whether it's been out with Philippe Clement's control, but he has had to let a few of the older ones go. Your Golsons, your Connor Golsons, your John Lundstrom's, people like that. They've had Barisic, they've moved on. And Philippe Clement has been the man to do that. So you've got to give him credit for doing that. But you're then looking at what you replace them with. And as I said right now, I think the Rangers squad is weaker than what it was before. And there has been money spent.
Obviously, we're now on an international break, so a lot of those players will have gone off with their national teams. Those that aren't will have stayed behind at training. What will have been the final message that Philippe Clement will have given to his players after such a chastening defeat like Sunday?
Well, I think it's changed days at Ibrox, that's for sure, because there won't be many jetting off for international football, that's for sure. Listen, you've got 2 weeks before you come back to, for the game against Dundee United, which is going to be a really tough game because, Dundee United have started well under Jim Goodwin, and Tannadice is always a difficult place to go. And Rangers' away record in recent times isn't great. You can't get away from that. I mean, we can go around the houses and make excuses and stuff like that, but I think there is a bigger picture staring you right in the face here that Rangers' performances haven't been great, and they're going to have to find a way to start getting results. We look at you go back to the start of the season with the game against Hearts, but Hearts since then have been in free fall as well. I mean, no wins in 6 for Hearts. Rangers go there and draw, and then all of a sudden you're able to put a couple of results together in the league. Obviously knocks St Johnstone out the cup. The Champions League was a disappointment as well. When you go away from home, you go to Poland and you come back with that draw, and you think, there's an opportunity here to maybe get through. And I'm not saying you'd have beat Salzburg in the next round, but it would have been £4.5 million that would have helped Rangers a long way. So I think there's other things that have out with what's just going on the football field right now. The stadium, I feel as if I'm in repeat regarding that, but the sooner Rangers get back to Ibrox, the better, because as I said, that is where a lot of the negativity is coming from. The fans are fed up. As I said, they've spent good money in their season tickets, and they're obviously playing at Hampden right now. They don't want to be there. They want to be home. As I said, that Rangers, I think, are hoping to be back in for the Hibs game at the end of the month. So hopefully that's the case, because as I said, there's a lot of Rangers fans not happy because of that. But I think the message would be that you're going to come in for criticism. That's what happens when you play with a big football club. You're going to get criticised. I don't agree with the fans turning up at Ibrox hurling abuse at the players, because that's not needed. That's not going to help anyone. But I think that, you look at Sunday, there was a structure on the field for the first 10, 15 minutes. Celtic scored that goal that was chopped off, and Rangers just capitulated. So I think you've got to, there is good players in that Rangers team, but they're going to have to show it on a consistent basis.
Yeah, and they're already 5 points behind Celtic in the league table. It's an awful question to ask a Rangers fan, but are Celtic already stick-on champions this year?
Well, they're heavy favourites going into the campaign, and the way that started, then it's hard to put up a fight for, fight against that. But listen, you never know in football. Things can change so quickly. But it would not even I can sit here and put forward a case for Rangers winning the league at this moment in time. But I think Celtic, in terms of the business, they've went about it. Brendan Rodgers seems to have a settled team, which always helps. And I don't think he's chopping and changing. He's stuck to his team. He's stuck to his principles. But that structure behind him allows him to do that. Philip Clement is still searching for, personally, what I think he's best 11. So I think Rangers need to get a starting 11, a team that is capable of going and winning games week in, week out, and then see where that takes them. But as I said, it's going to be very difficult. And you look at Aberdeen, the way they've started, I wouldn't be getting too carried away. It felt as if they'd won the league against Ross County on Saturday night. But, they've come up against, they beat St Johnstone the first day, fair enough. But after that, St Mirren after Europe, Kilmarnock after Europe, and a last-minute winner against Ross County. Yes, they're winning the games, but I think we'll be judging Aberdeen come the end of the September, October, once they've had a tough run of fixtures.
Yeah, so you mentioned Aberdeen, they've started great. Dundee United have started great. Are Rangers still the next best in the league after Celtic?
Yeah, I think that they will finish second for me. I know it's early doors, and you've got to look at the fixtures as well. But I think Rangers will finish second. Look, it's not going to be as easy as it's been over the last few years to get that place. But looking at it, I wouldn't be getting carried away if I was Aberdeen. I know they've started the season well, but that you've got to look at the teams they've played against and the fixtures, the way the fixtures have fell from them for them. They've got tough matches coming up, and Dundee United, they're not just a promoted team. Yes, you get a little bit of confidence going. You never know what could happen, but you'd expect Hibs to improve as well. Hearts are going to have to improve. It will be a competitive league, but I still think Celtic will win the league comfortably and Rangers will be second comfortably.
Right, Boydie, you can breathe now. We're going to park the Rangers chat. Thank you for going into such depth. I know that would have dredged up some feelings that you may have wanted to park on Sunday. I'll tell you what we'll focus on, the international break now. So Scotland have got Poland at home on Thursday, then Portugal away on Sunday. Tough fixtures in this Europa League. How will they be feeling going into this?
Kris, that's what happens when you're on the top level, isn't it? It's you're always going to get difficult fixtures. I think Steve Clarke has come in for a little bit of criticism. The boys have come in for a little bit of criticism off the back of what happened at the Euros. But take nothing away from Steve Clarke and this group of players. What they have achieved inside such a short period of time has been remarkable. When you look at back-to-back Euros, you're now in the top flight of the Nations League. It's been a good period for Scottish football, but it's the usual. We're never happy. You look at the way we went out the Euros and everybody was saying we could have done a lot better. Steve Clarke will know we could have done a lot better. The players will know that they could have done a lot better. But the reality is, it's back-to-back Euros for the first time in a number of years. We're in the top level of the Nations League. You're playing against teams that you would fancy to beat us. But the only way you're going to improve is playing against those type of nations. And if you do that, then it should stand you in good stead ahead of that World Cup qualifying campaign. Because every Scottish fan they've had a great time at the Euros, or the last Euros, and then obviously the COVID one before. But I think if you're to get to a World Cup, it's been a long time, 1998 since the last World Cup for Scotland. If you have to get to America, Mexico and Canada, what a feeling that would be, and I'm sure they would love it. But I'm sure that's at the front of Steve Clarke's mind. Can I get Scotland to, obviously he wants to do well in the Nations League first, but his aim will be to get to the World Cup.
Has his success ultimately proved almost not his downfall, but to his detriment? Because you say back-to-back Euros qualification. Now they're in Nations League A. Ultimately, it means every time they go out to play, they're going to be up against it, right? It's going to be difficult to get wins, and therefore people will go, the record isn't fantastic. But when you test yourself against the very best, it's harder than where Scotland might have been 5 years ago.
Yeah, but I think when you go back to, there was a little period where it was France, we obviously in between the Spanish games, but France, the England game, the Netherlands. There was games in there that was very difficult, but then you had a few little games. The Northern Ireland one would have been the one that probably annoyed most Scottish fans. Obviously beat Gibraltar as well, but before the Euros. But there's not been a lot of wins recently, but that comes with the level of team you're playing against, as you say, and a lot of it came off the back of Scotland started the last campaign for the Euros very well, the qualifying campaign, and had all the points in the bag and were there, so they could relax towards the end. And you do switch off. I think when you're under pressure, week in, week out with your club, and then all of a sudden you come away with international, and you've already achieved your goal as such, it does change your mindset. There's no doubt about it. And the players probably were going into international games more relaxed towards the end of that campaign, and then you've come up against bigger and better opposition, and the countries I've named there. You've lost a few games, and then the Northern Ireland one was a sore one. But I think that the performances at the Euros, you're going to get criticised when you don't perform well, and that's where Scotland were. They didn't play well. They didn't, really lay a glove on anyone. But don't forget where Scotland were before. They've got to that level, and playing the experience they've had at that level and the teams that you're coming up against in the Nations League will only help Scotland and the players going forward.
This is the first chance I've had to speak to you since Scott McTominay made his move on deadline day from Manchester United to Napoli. What did you make of that move? Is it a good move for him, and is it a good move for Scotland?
Yes, I think it's a good move for both. You would expect if they are willing to take someone from Scott McTominay to Italy, he's going to be playing. Obviously, Billy Gilmour's went as well. Conte has been a manager that's managed in England and will know these players. So, they're already ahead of, a lot of the ones that will be there. And for, Scott McTominay, he was in and out the Manchester United team. For me, if I was Manchester United, I wouldn't have let him go. Because, there's some games you seen last year, he came on and he gave them that spark, and there was an energy about him, and I think that's something that Manchester United have been lacking in and around that midfield area, is the legs that Scott McTominay brings to the team. But, it can only help Scotland if Scott McTominay's getting, 90 minutes under his belt week in, week out. His performance levels for Scotland have been very, very good, I must add. And he'll be looking to continue that. But, playing regular football will only help him, that's for sure.